Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, I did come back to the model table last night. As you can see, things are different. And we are going to have a rollback for a change. Okay. I don't have a whole lot to talk about in my opening remarks this morning, but I think the best thing to do is just get right into the rollback. We did have our sunrise, and our walkers came and left. At first, when I saw them, I thought it was two different people. They were walking a little bit more, you might say, sprightly. At least I thought they were. Anyway, it was them. Not that we could see their faces or anything like that, but you sort of get to know how people walk, you know. There was a guy that I used to work with. When I walk, I have sort of a different sort of you might call it a gait, and I didn't realize I did. And I used to work with a guy who walked much the same as me. And at that time, at least at the beginning, I didn't realize that he and I had much the same sort of walk. And I one of the reasons why I didn't like him was I didn't like the way he walked. Well, one day I'm walking. I used to do a lot of walking, believe it or not. I actually could, and I used to enjoy it. However, I was walking down the street, and you know how you have these large plate glass windows in the stores, and you'll walk by, and if you happen to look over, you can see yourself. And I looked and I saw myself walking, and I thought, my goodness, I walk funny. And then I realized that it was the same as the guy who I was sort of faulting for the way he walked. Boy, what do you call that? Karma or something? Or, you know, yeah. Anyway, let's roll back, and you'll see how it is I got to where we are, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, I guess I've been working at this for maybe going on 2 hours altogether. I still have to cover up these numbers with masking tape so that they don't get sprayed over and can't read them. These ones here I didn't number because it's really obvious what they are. Now these ones here, they are the, I think it's C46. I think what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to paint them by hand, and I'm just going to do them the number 19. And the reason I'm going to do them the number 19 is because they look like they're supposed to be actually part of the superstructure. I don't know why it is that Trumpeter chose, you know, to do them in photo etch. Anyway, I'm just going to do them with the brush, and at least that's the plan. Whoops. I don't want the blue tack to ooze up around the sides and act like a mask. Okay, I'm just going to do the same on the other one. Let's see, maybe I could do it a little differently here. Yep, that's different. That's different, no question about it. Okay, pick it up. I want something flat to push them down. Otherwise, what could happen is they'll curve on me. and they do have to basically stay straight. Okay, I'm just going to paint those with the 19 so that they'll match the 19 of the rest of the superstructure. And I think that's the way to go here. I was going to lay them down and paint them to the 77 or whatever. I'm going to paint this stuff. Okay, I have just shaken this up. I was noticing just a moment ago that these things, they don't seem to be wanting to stay down very good. I'm hoping that, well, I'll worry about that later. I guess maybe just before I spray I'll have to just tap them down, if you know what I mean. Now, what I'm planning to do here is give this 2 coats if need be. And don't press very hard, because what's going to happen is I'm going to work it loose from the blue tack. When these are being viewed, I believe that these are doorways, and the person we will be viewing them at an angle like this. So I want to make sure that there is no photo etch glinting on the top here. Now the back side we're not going to see. But we might see the sides. Man, this is drying very quickly. We will see the edges of these doorways here. Now I'm pretty sure I already did the top here. Okay, we'll leave that and I'll just give it another coat. I'll do the same on this. I'll just sort of let it flood all around that. I really like this XF paint for, you know, you put it on thick and it sort of shrink wraps. I know I've probably said the word shrink wrap 50 times. Now I don't need to worry about the bottom there. That's going to go up against the part of the deck. Alright, I'm going to let that dry, and while this is drying, I'm pretty sure I got the inside of the X there. Okay, let's let that dry, and I'm going to figure out how I can cover up these numbers. Shouldn't be too difficult. Okay. Now, I want to get this down there in such a way that I can peel it off afterwards. Let's see, maybe I could do it like this. Kind of go right up to the edge of the green tape. as you can see, I have prepared an awful lot more than what I actually needed. Okay, now this one here, I'm just going to double it over, sort of like make a little tab on it, so later I can just peel it off. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on these other 4 places here. 4 places? 3 places. And I think what I'll do here is I'll put a piece of cereal box waxed paper over top of that, because I'll be able to use this area for something else. Otherwise, if I don't cover it up, the overspray is going to spoil the sticky part. Okay, let's see what it looks like after we're done here. Okay, a few minutes ago I just finished giving these their second coat. And you can see it's still a little bit wet there maybe. So we'll leave that overnight. I think it's probably going to dry up and be almost as good as if I had airbrushed it, almost. And these ones here, if you remember, they were crossways, sort of over that hump. Well, I've got them lengthways with the hump, and we've got a lot more contact area going on there now. And I'm pretty sure this is going to work out. I don't think these will blow off. I've got these ones have to be curved like that, but maybe not quite that sharper radius. So we might have to straighten these out just a little bit afterwards, but I don't think they'll blow off. Okay, I'm going to call it quits here for this evening. What do we got here? 22 minutes after 8. Yeah, I guess I'm really feeling my oats tonight, aren't I? Or whatever they call it. All right, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, it is morning. And I am noticing that our yellow tape here, I believe it's the frog tape, is slowly letting go. Now, I already poked it back down once, probably about an hour ago, but it's letting go again. So I can see that just before I actually do the spraying. I'm going to want to make sure I got it poked down, at least over the numbers. And yeah, I think that this is going to spray all right. And I'm probably going to do all of this in the 77 so that they contrast. The ladders will contrast nicely against the 19, which is what the superstructure is. And these came out quite nice. At least I think they did. So not as good as airbrush, I'll admit it. But anyway, okay. Let's. I guess the next thing to do is drag our spray booth over here onto the middle of the table where I can get at it and get myself set up to spray these. I'm pretty sure I got enough 77 left. Gotta go to the hobby store. Anyway, obviously these ladders are only going to be done on the one side. And I will be talking about ladders. One of the reasons why we're getting a later start this morning. Now, yesterday's late start is, I don't think I mentioned it, but I slept in yesterday morning. It was almost 7 o'clock before I woke up, and that's late for me. But this morning I got busy on the computer, and I was doing a little bit of sort of, you might say, animation kind of stuff. And I spent about an hour and a half or so doing that. And because I'm not very good at it, it takes me a long time. Anyway, I'll show you that. It has to do with these ladders right here. Okay, let's stop poking here and get our spray booth in position. Okay, I hope this is going to work out. You can see I've drawn a ladder here from the side profile of it. And these 3 things here represent the treads, and they are bent in the correct position in between the 2 stringers. Now, of course, you can only see one stringer because this is a side profile, and I don't know how to draw in 3D. Anyway, we don't want to be wasting a lot of time telling you how I did try to mess around with Fusion 360 and stuff like that for about a year. But anyway, I didn't get very good at it and I gave up. Now, And the reason I went into Fusion 360 is because I was thinking of maybe getting a 3D printer. Well, I realized that I'm just not talented that way. I'm not that artistic, I guess. Anyway, here we go. We're in CorelDRAW here, and we've got a side profile of our ladder. This is obviously is the railing. Okay, and these are obviously our treads. Now let's just zoom in just a little bit here, and I was going to say I only get one chance at this, but I guess that's not true. I could redo this again, couldn't I? Okay, now right now, this represents our tread, and it is bent in the correct position, and this orange thing here represents the connection where the tread is connected to the stringer. And if we take and straighten one of these out the way it is when we get it, okay, it's something like this. Actually, that's not the way it is. It's the other way. That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. It's the other way, and the connection is, where is it here? Have I got this wrong? Yeah, I had it wrong. Okay, in other words, I had it right the first time. Here we go. Let's do this one as well. We got lots of time to waste today, don't we? Okay. Now how about the other one? Okay, so now we got them right, but we'll just concern ourselves with the center one here. Now, in order to bend this center one here the correct way, notice how far I have to twist it at this connection here. Okay, I have to go way around here. Okay, now it's basically horizontal the way it should be. Whereas, okay, this is the way we get it. Here's the connection. If I bend it out the back the wrong way, the connection or the bending radius here is a lot less than if I have to go a way around and from here to here. It's about twice as much of a bend. And it seems to me I was finding that when I was trying this with ladders. I forget which other kit it was, and maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe it's only this kit that has the connections in the wrong place. Yeah, you're bending it probably over twice as much, and it was breaking. I was having a problem with them breaking off. Okay, that was my thinking. Now I did know that to that viewer that commented, that I bent them out the back instead of in between the stringers. I knew that I was doing that, but I figured that from arm's length, and when you're looking straight down on it, you don't really notice that unless you get in really close with the macro lens. Okay, so that's why I did it. Now let's just take this and straighten it out here the way. Okay. Now, if Trumpeter had of, see if I can do this now. Try and grab this thing and move it. If they had the connection up here, and is this going to bend properly for me now? Wait a minute here. Get over here. Okay, let's put our rotation point right here. Okay, now if the connection had been on up here, okay, and they could have done that, then to get it to bend correctly, why am I losing this here? Okay, here we go. Then to get it to bend correctly, you would just have to go like this, okay, and your radius would be, or rather your arc would be a lot less here. That's the way they should have done. In other words, it's not my fault. It's Trumpeter's fault. They designed these photo etch pieces wrong. Okay. I hope that sort of explains why I did it the way I did it. How many of you are still with me? You probably gave up, right? Now, every time I use this cereal box waxed paper, I get a very nostalgic feeling, and here's why. oh, I guess probably going on 6 years ago now, I was really big into making segmented bowls in my workshop. And I used to use this waxed paper to lay the segmented pieces up when I was gluing them together. And the reason being is because you could peel this off afterwards and the glue wouldn't stick to it. Those of you who have made segmented bowls, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But the reason I feel nostalgic is because my mother found out that that's what I was doing. She saw the odd one of my workshop videos, and being as I was her son, she pretended she was interested. Anyway, she realized that, hey, I've been throwing these things out, why don't I save them for my son? So she did. She used to save them for me. Anyway, I'd go to Kelowna and visit Mom, and sure enough, laying there in my room there by my bed, there would be 4 or 5 of these sheets that she had saved from cereal boxes for me. And she did that for a few years. So now, whenever I use this stuff, I'm reminded of that, and hence the nostalgic feeling. Anyway, I think I'll just cut this off like this, and then we can reuse this area later. Okay, that's done. But you know, we are not ready to paint yet. Probably about, an hour ago I was thinking, well, I'll just drag the spray booth over and plug in the air hose into the airbrush and pour in the paint and I'll be up and running. But then I discover I have to mount our turrets onto some kind of blocks or something. And the same thing with our spotlights here. And then I realized, well, I guess I am going to have to do a color change after all, because I don't want the spotlights the 19. And yet I think that possibly the 77, that I'm doing these railings and everything, is too dark. I'll probably do the spotlights the 66. So it looks like I'm going to be doing about 3 different colors. And if I was to paint these, the NATO black here, you know, the 69, you know, I'm thinking against that now, because what I did was I went through the manual, I paged ahead a little bit, and there are other radar antenna arrays that have to be made up. And that would mean that if I paint these ones black, I got to paint all of them black. And I'm just thinking it just might be too much. Whereas I'm thinking that the 77 will contrast quite nicely with the 19. So I think I'm just going to do the radar units, the 77. But thank you, Jeff, for the suggestion. It was a good idea. And maybe it's actually a better idea. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to be doing it wrong. Speaking of having to spray the 19, I may as well have saved these and sprayed them. You know what? I think what I'll do is I'll just spray over top, and that way they'll have the exact same texture as the rest of the superstructure that has been sprayed. Okay, talk is cheap, and it keeps me from having to actually get into this. I don't know why it just takes me a while to get into it, but once I actually start doing it, I really enjoy it. So let's keep moving forward here. What do we got? My goodness, it's almost noon already. We are getting closer and closer to being ready to actually spray here. And I was thinking a moment ago that on these ones here, I should have had these little ladders and sprayed them at the same time as I did these ones over here, and then later stuck them to the sides of the turret with clear coat flat clear, and that way they would have stood out better. I know that I'd done that in the past. I think I did that way back on the Bismarck already. I know I talk about the Bismarck a lot, but for some reason I can remember building that one a lot better than the Hood and the Rodney. I think the reason being is because it was my first, 200 scale, and there was a lot of things I was kind of leery of, and I was concentrating a lot more. Whereas with the Hood and the Rodney, I just sort of was sticking it together. Yeah, that's too bad. I wish now that I'd remembered that. I suppose, being as it is just clear coat that's holding these on, I could pick them off without damaging them, maybe. Then do these the 19 like I'm going to do now. But, you know, like I've said so many times before, there's only so much work I'm going to be wanting to put into this thing. And then it becomes work. But I think we're basically ready to go here. Yeah, this keeps coming up. Okay, let's recompose here. I think I do actually believe we're ready to spray now. I don't know if I should go from the I'm going to be using the well, I won't be using the black, but we'll be doing the 77, 69, and 19. So I don't know if you're doing a color change in the airbrush, which is the best way to go. Start out with the darkest first, because you don't want to get dark mixed with your 66, or do we do the light first? You know, mind you, if the back flushing job I do is adequate, it shouldn't make any difference. It's either clean or it isn't. I guess it was a case of if your airbrush is not perfectly clean, which way would be the best to go? Yeah, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. Maybe some of you who have done a lot of painting actually know. Anyway, well, let's recompose here. Okay, here's what's been happening. I've decided I'm going to start out with the lightest and work my way through to the darkest. Maybe that's wrong, but I think it's going to work out. Which means we're going to do these 6 pieces, the 19, first. Then I'll do the 66 on the searchlights, and then everything else will be the 77, like the ladders and these things. Now, speaking of these things, probably about 10 minutes ago, I was reaching across to do something, and I accidentally caught this one, and I've broken the array off of the base. Nothing else was damaged. They just let go. So I've got to fix that now. And so we get our CA glue out. As I'm editing out this scene right now, my doorbell rings and I look over into the monitor and I see an Amazon truck on the front street. Yeah, we got a little package here. It's something that had been recommended for, I guess, going on 4 years now. And I finally broke down and got it. Now, it's just a little thing. Don't go thinking it's the big Yamato or anything like that. But we'll be having a package opening tomorrow. Probably use the thin again. So that's going to set me back a little bit, because obviously I can't spray these until it cures, which is probably going to happen pretty fast. But there's another thing I want to do. When I put my rotator here on in the spray booth, I was thinking, you know, I never did put the adjustable rheostat. What is it, a pointiometer or something crazy name like that I use maybe once every 10 years. Anyway, I'm going to just see if I can't just do that this afternoon. So it's 1 o'clock roughly, and I think I'm going to call it a day for today's episode. Yeah, I could keep going, but I just want to take a bit of a break. I've been at this now for a few hours, and I just want to do something different. And soldering in an adjustable rheostat is something different. So, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're going to see you tomorrow.